Pretoria is a city in the northern part of Gauteng Province, South Africa. It is one of the country's 3 capital cities, serving as the seat of the executive branch of government. Pretoria has a reputation for being an academic city with 3 universities and the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research located in its eastern suburbs. The city also hosts the South African Bureau of Standards, making the city a hub for research. Pretoria is the central part of the city of Tshwane Metropolitan Municipality, which was formed by the amalgamation of several former local authorities including Centurion and Soshanguve. There have been proposals to change the name of Pretoria itself to Tshwane, and the proposed name change has caused some controversy. Pretoria is named after the Voortrekker leader Andries Pretorius, and within South Africa is popularly known as the Jacaranda City due to the thousands of jacaranda trees planted in its streets, parks and gardens. History. Pretoria was founded in 1855 by Martinus Pretorius, a leader of the Voortrekkers, who named it after his father Andries Pretorius and chose a spot on the banks of the Upes River to be the new capital of the South African Republic. The elder Pretorius had become a national hero of the Voortrekkers after his victory over the Dingaan and the Zulus in the Battle of Blood River. The elder Pretorius also negotiated the Sand River Convention, in which Britain acknowledged the independence of the Transvaal. It became the capital of the South African Republic on 1 May 1860. The founding of Pretoria as the capital of the South African Republic can be seen as marking the end of the Boers settlement movements of the Great Trek Boer Wars. During the First Boer War, the city was besieged by Republican forces in December 1880 and March 1881. The peace treaty which ended the war was signed in Pretoria on 3 August 1881 at the Pretoria Convention. The Second Boer War resulted in the end of the Transvaal Republic and start of British hegemony in South Africa. The city surrendered to British forces under Frederick Roberts on 5 June 1900, and the conflict was ended in Pretoria with the signing of the Peace of Vereeniging on 31 May 1902. The Pretoria forts were built for the defense of the city just prior to the Second Boer War. Though some of these forts are today in ruins, a number of them have been preserved as national monuments. Union of South Africa. The Boer republics of the Zaar and the Orange River Colony were united with the Cape Colony and Natal Colony in 1910 to become the Union of South Africa. Pretoria then became the administrative capital of the whole of South Africa, with Cape Town the legislative capital. Between 1910 and 1994, the city was also the capital of the province of Transvaal. On 14 October 1931, Pretoria achieved official city status. When South Africa became a republic in 1961, Pretoria remained its administrative capital. Geography. Pretoria is situated approximately 55 kilometers north-northeast of Johannesburg in the northeast of South Africa, in a transitional belt between the plateau of the Highveld to the south and the lower-lying Bushveld to the north. It lies at an altitude of about 1,339 meters above sea level, in a warm, sheltered, fertile valley, surrounded by the hills of the Magaliesberg Range. Climate. The city has a humid subtropical climate with long hot rainy summers and short cool to cold, dry winters. The city experiences the typical winters of South Africa, with cold, clear nights and mild to moderately warm days. Although the average lows during winter are mild, it can get bitterly cold due to the clear skies, with nighttime low temperatures in recent years in the range of 2 to -5 degrees Celsius. The average annual temperature is 18.7 degrees Celsius. This is rather high, considering the city's relatively high altitude of about 1,339 meters, and is due mainly to its sheltered valley position, which acts as a heat trap and cuts it off from cool southerly and southeasterly air masses for much of the year. Rain is chiefly concentrated in the summer months, with drought conditions prevailing over the winter months, when frosts may be sharp. Snowfall is an extremely rare event. Snowflakes were spotted in 1959, 1968 and 2012 in the city, but the city has never experienced an accumulation in its history. During a nationwide heatwave in November 2011, Pretoria experienced temperatures that reached 39 degrees Celsius, unusual for the time of the year. Similar record-breaking extreme heat events also occurred in January 2013, when Pretoria experienced temperatures exceeding 37 degrees Celsius on several days. The year 2014 was one of the wettest on record for the city. A total of 914 millimeters fell up to the end of December, with 220 millimeters recorded in this month alone. In 2015, Pretoria saw its worst drought since 1982. The month of November 2015 saw new records broken for high temperatures, with 43 degrees Celsius recorded on the 11th of November after 3 weeks of temperatures between 35 degrees Celsius and 43 degrees Celsius. January 2016 saw Pretoria reach a new record high of 44 degrees Celsius on January 7, 2016. Demographics. Depending on the extent of the area understood to constitute Pretoria, the population ranges from 700,000 to 2.95 million. The main language spoken in Pretoria is Afrikaans, also widely spoken as Sepedi, Sesotho, Setswana, Xitsonga, isiZulu and English. The city of Pretoria has the largest white population in sub-Saharan Africa. Since its founding, it has been a major Afrikaner population center, and currently there are roughly 1 million Afrikaners living in or around the city. Ethnic groups. Even since the end of apartheid, Pretoria itself has a white majority, albeit an ever-increasing black middle class. However, in the townships of Soshanguve and Atteridgeville, blacks make up close to all of the population. The largest white ethnic group are the Afrikaners, and the largest black ethnic group of the Northern Sothos. The low estimate for the population of Pretoria includes largely former white designated areas, and there is therefore a white majority. However, including the geographically separate townships increases Pretoria's population beyond 1 million and makes whites a minority. Pretoria's Indians were ordered to move from Pretoria to Laudium on the 6th of June 1958. Cityscape. Pretoria is known as the Jacaranda City due to the approximately 50,000 jacarandas that line its streets. Purple is a color often associated with the city and is often included on local council logos and services such as the Yang Rapid Bus System, and the logo of the local Jacaranda FM radio station. Architecture. Media related to buildings in Pretoria. At Wikimedia Commons, Pretoria has over the years had very diverse cultural influences, and this is reflected in the architectural styles that can be found in the city. It ranges from 19th-century Dutch, German and British colonial architecture to modern, postmodern, neo-modern, and Art Deco architecture styles with a good mix of a uniquely South African style. Some of the notable structures in Pretoria include the late 19th century Palace of Justice, Justice, the early 20th century Union buildings, the post-war Voortrekker Monument, the diverse buildings dotting the main campuses of both the University of Pretoria and the University of South Africa, traditional Cape Dutch-style Malamba Ndlovu, the more modern Reserve Bank of South Africa, and the Telkom Lucas Rand Transmission Tower. Other well-known structures and buildings include the Loftus Versfeld Stadium, the South African State Theatre, and the Oliver Tambo Building, which is the headquarters of the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. The Lucasron Tower is located on Michael Nook Hill in the Lucasron suburb on the outskirts of the central city and is a prominent landmark in the skyline. Central Business District. Despite the many corporate offices, small businesses, shops and government departments that are situated in Pretoria's sprawling suburbs, its Central Business District still retains its status as the traditional center of government and commerce. Many banks, businesses, large corporations, shops, shopping centers and other businesses are situated in the city center, which is towered by several large skyscrapers, the tallest of which is the Poyntons Building Tall, the Absa Building Tall, and the Reserve Bank of South Africa Building Tall. The area contains a large amount of historical buildings, monuments and museums that include the Pretoria City Hall, Pretoria Square, Church Square and the Ou Raadsaal. There is also the Transvaal Museum, the National Zoological Gardens of South Africa, Melrose House Museum in Jacob Maree Street, the Pretoria Art Museum and the African Window Cultural History Museum. Several national departments also have head offices in the Central Business District, such as the Department of Health, Basic Education, Transport, Higher Education and Training, Sport and Recreation, Justice and Constitutional Development, Public Service and Administration, Water and Environmental Affairs and the National Treasury. The district also has a high number of residential buildings which house people who primarily work in the district. Parks and gardens. Pretoria is home to the National Zoological Gardens of South Africa as well as the Pretoria National Botanical Garden. There are also a number of smaller parks and gardens located throughout the city, including the Austin Roberts Bird Sanctuary, Pretoria Square Gardens, the Pretoria Rosarium, Church Square, Pretoria Showgrounds, Springbok Park, Freedom Park, and Burgers Park, the oldest park in the city and now a national monument. In the suburbs there are also several parks that are notable. Ryotondale Park, Die Proa House in the Queenswood suburb, Nelson Mandela Park and Mandela Park, Peace Garden and Belgrave Square Park. Suburbs. Transport. Railway. Commuter rail services around Pretoria are operated by Metrorail. The routes, originating from the city centre, extend south to Germiston and Johannesburg, west to Atteridgeville, northwest to Ga-Rankuwa, north to Soshanguve and east to Mamelodi. The Gautrain high-speed railway line runs from the eastern suburb of Hatfield to Pretoria Station and then southwards to Centurion, Midrand, Marlborough, Sandton or Tambo International Airport, Rosebank and Parktown. Pretoria Station is a departure point for the Blue Train luxury train. Rovos Rail, a luxury mainline train safari service, operates from the colonial-style railway station at Capital Park. The South African Friends of the Rail have recently moved the vintage train trip operations from the Capital Park station to the Hercules station. Buses. Various bus companies exist in Pretoria, of which Putco is one of the oldest and most recognized. Tshwane Municipality provides for the rest of the bus transport, and to view the timetable please visit the Tshwane bus booklet. Road. The N1 is the major freeway that runs through Pretoria. It enters the city from the south as the Ben Sherman Highway. At the Braakfontein interchange with the N14 it continues as the N1 Eastern Bypass bisects the large expanse of the eastern suburbs, routing traffic from Johannesburg to Polokwane and the north of the country. The R101 is the original N1, and served the same function before the construction of the highway. It runs through the center of town rather than the eastern suburbs. The N4 enters the town as a highway from Witbank in the east, merging with the N1 at the Proa House interchange. It begins again north of the city, branching west from the N1 as the Platinum Highway, forming the northern bypass, and heading to Rustenburg. The N4 runs east-west through South Africa, connecting Maputo to Gaborone. Before the Platinum Highway was built, the N4 continued past the Proa House interchange to the city centre, where it became a regular road, before again becoming a highway west of the city. These roads are now designated the M2 and M4. There is a third, original east-west road, the R104, Church Street. Church Street is in the process of being renamed to a number of new names. The N14 starts in the center of town from the M4. It is a normal road heading south through the center before becoming the Ben Sherman Highway. At the Braakfontein interchange, the Ben Sherman Highway becomes the N1, but the N14 continues as the intersecting west-southwestern highway towards Krugersdorp. The R114 parallels the N14 in its westward journey, running just to the north of the highway. The R21 provides a second north-south highway, further east. It starts from the Fountains interchange south of the city centre, but is still a road until Monument Park, when it becomes a true highway. It crosses the N1 east of the Braakfontein interchange at the Flying Saucer interchange and runs north-south towards Ekurhuleni. Importantly, it links Pretoria with the Tambo International Airport in Kempton Park. A proposed third north-south highway in the west of the city, the R80, is partially built. At present the highway begins in Soshanguve. It terminates just north of the city centre at an intersection with the M1. Plans have been in place for some time to extend this all the way past the M4 and N14 highways to the N1 in Randburg. Pretoria is also served by many regional roads. The R55 starts at an interchange with the R80, and runs north-southwest of the city to Sandton. The R50 starts from the N1 just after the Flying Saucer interchange in the southeast of the city, and continues southeast towards Delmas. The R511 runs north-south from Randburg towards Brits and barely bypasses Pretoria to the west. The R514 starts from the M1 north of the city centre and terminates at the R511. The R513 crosses Pretoria's northern suburbs from east to west. It links Pretoria to Cullinan and Bronkhorstspruit in the east and Hartbeespoort in the west. The R566 takes origin in Pretoria's northern suburbs, and exits the town to the west just north of the R513. It connects Pretoria to Brits. Finally, the R573 starts from the R513, just east of the town, and heads northeast to Siabuswa. Pretoria is also served internally by Metropolitan routes. Airports for scheduled air services. Pretoria is served by Johannesburg's airports. Tambo International, 45 kilometers south of central Pretoria, and Lanseria, 35 kilometers southwest of the city. Wonderboom Airport in the suburb of Wonderboom in the north of Pretoria primarily services light commercial and private aircraft. However, as from August 2015, scheduled flights from Wonderboom Airport to Cape Town International Airport were made available by SA Airlink. There are two military air bases to the south of the city, Swartkop and Waterkloof. society and culture. Media. Since Pretoria forms part of the Tshwane Metropolitan Municipality, most radio, television and paper media is the same as what can be found in the rest of the metro area. Radio. There are many radio stations in the Greater Pretoria region. Some of note are Jacaranda FM, previously known as Jacaranda 94.2, is a commercial South African radio station, broadcasting in English and Afrikaans, with a footprint that covers Gauteng, Limpopo, Mpumalanga and the Northwest Province, and boasts a listening audience of 2 million people a week, and a digital community of more than 1 million people a month. The station's format is mainstream adult contemporary, with programming constructed around a playlist of hit music from the 80s, 90s and now. Tuks FM is the radio station of the University of Pretoria and one of South Africa's community broadcasters. It was one of the first community broadcasters in South Africa to be given an FM license. It is known for contemporary music and is operated by UP's student base. Radio Pretoria is a community-based radio station in Pretoria, South Africa, whose programs are aimed at Afrikaners. It broadcasts 24 hours a day in stereo in 104.2 FM in the Greater Pretoria area. Various other transmitters in South Africa broadcast the station's content further afield, while the station is also available on Centex's digital satellite platform. Television. Pretoria is serviced by ETV, SABC in M&ET. Paper. The city is serviced by a variety of printed publications, namely, Pretoria News is a daily newspaper established in Pretoria in 1898. It publishes a daily edition from Monday to Friday and a weekend edition on Saturday and Sunday. It is an independent newspaper in the English language that serves the city and its direct environs. It is available online via the independent online website. Field is an Afrikaans language daily newspaper that was launched on the 16th of September 1974. Field is distributed in 4 provinces of South Africa: Gauteng, Mpumalanga, Limpopo, Northwest. Field was an Afrikaans language Sunday newspaper in the late 1960s. Wrapped is an alternative lifestyle magazine from Africa that caters for the entire LGBT community and is not gender-dominated. Pretoria Creole. Pretoria Sotho is the urban lingua franca of Pretoria and the Tshwane metropolitan area in South Africa. It is a combination of Tswana and Northern Sotho, with influences from Tsotsitaal and other black South African languages. It is a Creole language that developed in the city during the years of apartheid.